What's going on, Predators? Travis here. Today we're going to be doing honestly a review of your guys' feedback on a video that I posted recently about how I was doing the carnivore diet. And one thing that really shocked me was the responses that I got to that video and how positively you guys viewed the carnivore diet. Some of those stories, guys, were just flat out amazing, and I was really impressed with how great y'all's lives are doing because of starting this diet and trying it out. So real quick, we're going to talk to you about Easy Veins. Easy Veins has been the sponsor of this channel for quite some time now. They're really great about providing amazing veins at a really good price. They're some of the lightest, they're the easiest to fletch vein system on the market. I like them, I've tried them. These are the veins that I use myself, and so if you're interested in getting some veins for your own arrows to get out there and harvest your own meat and become more of a carnivore and more responsible carnivore, then this is a great way to do it. So go ahead and check the link down below in the description and follow that, or use the coupon code 10% off plus 2 free veins, and you can get your own Easy Veins with a discount, get some free veins, and help support the channel at the same time. So without further ado, let's do further. All right, guys, so we're going to get right into it. And basically, I just wanted to go straight through all these comments. So the first one we're going to be talking about is from Conjuice. Conjuice says, the carnivore diet is saving my life. They are an ex-70% plant eater there. I respond to all the messages, by the way. So if you comment down on this video here, then I'm going to respond to it, even the negative stuff, because I like to kind of have a conversation, keep it going. And not to mention, it also boosts this video inside the YouTube search results so that we can get more people to see these videos about the carnivore diet, about hunting, and about eating and being and living responsibly. I responded to it and I said, wow, I said, that's awesome. Men and women of all types are catching on. It's so amazing. We're making real changes in society here. Just wait. And I really believe that's true. I think that by, bringing this to the top and showing more and more people that, hey, by doing this carnivore diet, you can actually live a really great life, and you can have good things, and you can feel better, and you can be better and be a better version of yourself as well. Kanju replied, actually, I just connected the dots. When I was a young boy, I remember most of our family's diet was animal-based, and we were mostly healthy and thriving. Then I remember that low-fat food started to dominate the market, and then came margarine instead of butter. If you ever know, the margarine is like the country crock and those kinds of different like fake butters that are really based on oils and things like that. And a lot of it's like plant oils or palm oils or stuff like that, hydrogenated soybean oil and stuff like that. And so this stuff is really not that good for you. Low fat food, it started to dominate the market. And then they're talking about margarine, which was advertised as a food that kids should eat to be healthy, smart, and strong. That's when our grandma came to change our diets. The animal skin and fat we used to eat, they were removed, but butter was replaced with canola oil and olive oil and margarine, and we were restricted access to eggs only once a week. Beef fat was skimmed off of the bony meats, broths, and soups. So yeah, I started getting sick with headaches, I developed asthma, and I had allergic rhinitis. Rhinitis is basically inflammation of the linings of the nose, and can cause bleeding and things like that. You know the drill. I said our experiences with our health issues overlap one another. I was just desperate for answers because I'm only turning 34 in a couple of months, but I feel like I'm 80. Something is definitely not right, even after religiously following healthy eating protocols, or what were once called healthy eating protocols. So lately I've just been obsessed about finding out the truth. One thing led to another, and now here I am. I'm absolutely grateful to have found my worth by deciding to be full carnivore, and it's been such a liberating experience. So I remember growing up that, that would be a thing that we would do, is we would have soups and stews. My grandmother and my mother would make these things, and they had all those healthy fats in there. And whenever we were sick, we ate homemade chicken stew or chicken broth. And so those things, that fat and that was really, really good for us, and it makes you feel better, and it gives you, energy, and it gives you something to, for your body to use to help it to feel better. As we get older, though, like say about the time I was turning into my teens, that's whenever that kind of low-fat stuff started kicking in. Everything, with the self-beach diet, low-fat this, and a lot of that a lot of that low-fat stuff was, really based on just, some people think it's based on kind of a malfeasance, like somebody was actually trying to do us harm. I really think it's just kind of based on ignorance. People were thinking, okay, well, you've got, fat problem, right? People are getting fatter and fatter. Well, maybe if we take fat out of the food, then it's going to make you not fat, right? It seems to track on the most simplest level, but it's a lot more complex than that. You've got to worry about not only fat, but you've got to worry about, carbohydrates. And I think really whenever people get sick and they start having issues is when they mix a lot of fat and a lot of carbs, because basically the way it works is, in a very, very simplified manner, is that basically with both things on board, your body has to choose one to burn and one to store, right? And typically with the carbohydrates, what it'll do is it tries to burn that first, because it's very easy to turn carbohydrates into energy, right? The problem is if you've got a lot of carbs on board, but you're not being very active, then what you're going to see is that you store more of those carbohydrates as fat, and it also turns off your body's ability to turn the fat that you intake in your diet. It turns off the ability to turn that into energy, and what it does, it just stores all of that in there. Now, whenever you cut carbs out of your diet and you go on just a meat-based or like a carnivore diet or a lion diet or something like that, where you have a lot of animal fat that you're digesting, what happens is that your body is no longer looking for the carbohydrates to burn for energy. And so instead of trying to process that and burn it really quick, or in the case of people that are living more sedentary lifestyles, just storing that as a fat for later to burn it later whenever you're actually active, what ends up happening is whenever you get fat adapted and your body's used to burning fat for energy, it's going to do that more easily. So basically what happens is that the fat has to go through and be processed by the liver and all that in the gallbladder to be digested, and it can be burned, but it's a lot longer process and it happens a lot slower. So what works, or what's good about it is that your body uses that fat as a long-term storage of uses that fat as a long burning energy source, and it ends up carrying you through longer, and it's easier for your body to process than a lot of carbohydrates is. So it's really interesting. And again, I'm not a doctor, so don't take medical advice from me. I'm just sharing people's stories here, and just from reading these is just super awesome stories. So let's jump on to the next one here. So the next one is from DC Hobbs, and DC says, I'm amazed at how quickly a carnivore diet has noticeable effects. This is day 6 for me, and within 48 hours I could feel good changes. I did as well. So within a short period of time of starting the diet, I noticed huge changes and feeling much better. And like I say, not feeling as tired, sleeping better, things like that. As I transitioned from a keto diet, losing about 50 pounds, and I hit a plateau which lasted for several months. Dr. Ken Berry was talking about carnivore, and I followed him for keto. So I decided to go carnivore for 30 days and try it. I started losing weight again, 10 pounds in the first 6 days. Sleeping great, no more tossing and turning, mental clarity and mood vastly improved, went down 1 pant size already. My wife suffers from arthritis, IBS, fibromyalgia. She started the day after I did to help support me in my weight loss journey, and all her symptoms are gone. So again, is this a cure for arthritis, IBS, or fibromyalgia? I'm not going to tell you that it is, but here's what I know. It did cure my arthritis. So my arthritis is like 99% gone. I guess you can't technically call that cured, but other than a couple times a day, just kind of stretching and popping my joints to make sure they stay loose, I have no issues that I was having with the arthritis. I replied to him, I said, man, it's absolutely amazing, isn't it? It helped me with my arthritis well, and my sleep for sure. And then Peter Stewart responding to him said, wait till you hit day 90. That's when you really start noticing the changes. I don't even think it takes 90 days, Peter. I think after 90 days, like I say, whenever you really get deep into it, you stay consistent, you get really fat adapted and everything, I think it does have some really great changes, but I think you don't even need to go that long. I think once you start it and by the time you hit day 90, you're so deep into it and you love it, and you think about food and you think about eating and you think about nutrition completely differently, and that's how it's been for me. So, but yeah, great stuff. Next over here, Jeff Ferguson said, 20 plus year vegetarian and vegan here. For about 5 years, I knew something was wrong. I've been doing a high-fat, animal-based diet with a little fruit added for about 6 months. The changes I've seen are amazing. Now I sleep through the night without waking to pee, no gas, no farting, and the dandruff has cleared up. I've packed on some muscle too. That's amazing, man. And one thing I want to add to it too is that, for me, like that gas and that farting, I talked from the first video about the digestion issues and how there's some things that you just really have to talk about. If you're talking about the carnivore diet, you kind of have to really mention, some of these issues with, or lack of issues with digestion and the gas and things like that. But I tell you what, I have like no issues with gas, no farting and everything, but I used to be notorious in the house for that, where, walking through the house, I would end up just kind of passing gas and things like that, because it was like my guts were so bloated all the time that I was almost just slip out, and I'll be walking around doing stuff. I'd go to stand up or sit down or something, and it would just slide right on out of there. And so, I noticed a huge difference in that. No more gas, no more bloating. I didn't have dandruff or anything like that, but as far as packing on some muscle, absolutely. No, I saw a huge change in that for me, because like I said in the first video, I can go from Monday, go to the gym, and normally before this diet, if I didn't go to the gym for a whole week, then I would basically be starting back at where I started before that first visit to the gym. I wouldn't gain, and I would end up losing that muscle because I didn't have enough protein on board. Well, this diet, you're getting so much protein in your diet that you can go, like I said in the first video, I can go to the gym on Monday, and then I can not go. I can stay out of the gym until the next Tuesday, and I feel like I haven't lost a single bit of muscle, that it's all stayed on there. And so I don't lose my gains from not going to the gym a lot. So for guys that are out there that are doing a lot of training, especially my fellow hunters out there that are trying to get stronger and have more endurance for the backcountry and things like that, trying to get really strong, this is a really good way to do it. And once you're fat adapted, like I found, I said in the first video that I had issues with like having enough glucose for my muscles and things like that, because I kind of struggled with that, and I was still kind of using some pure sugar and stuff like that, and candy as like a supplement for the gym to help me get there and get more endurance for my muscles. But what I ended up finding out is once I become fully fat adapted, I don't have that issue anymore. And actually recently I was at the Total Archery Challenge in San Antonio. If you follow my Instagram at apex_predator_OD, you can see the videos I posted there from some 360 videos that I edited there. But we went to Total Archery Challenge, and we were hiking up the mountains like all day long. It was like, went between 90 degrees and like 85 degrees with like 70% humidity. It was just brutal, right? But we went all day long. And I brought the other guys I brought with me were also kind of eating a more carnivore-based diet. And so in the morning, we were having eggs, and we were having bacon. We were having sausage that was made from like wild hog. We were eating goat steaks. I mean, we were eating great. It was eating amazing. And we had no problems going through that whole day, just hiking and shooting our bows and everything without, petering out and quitting. So very great stuff there, man. Alfred M responded to a few of these comments, and one of them he responded here to is, and so I responded actually to Jeff, and I said, so I've seen people transition from eating what we call a normal American diet of carbs and vegetables and meats and a mix of everything, kind of a USDA food pyramid kind of diet, go into a vegan diet, for medical reasons, because their doctor recommended it or something like that, and they ended up getting more sick. Like I said, it's a different kind of sick, like, maybe they traded like this and this for something completely different, right? But they ended up getting more sick off that diet. So it's really interesting. But Alfred M commented on that. I said, a vegan diet doesn't really help anything. Fasting is better. And when you finally eat, meat is the best. And I agree. And this is one thing that he get comment on something later on, talking about, having cheat days and things like that. I think it's almost to the point whenever you're on the carnivore diet, it gets a lot easier to fast. And fasting every once in a while is really good for you. I regularly go 10 to 12 hours without eating, and I feel great. And then what I'm doing is I'm listening to my body, and my body is telling me when it's time to eat. So whenever I'm doing that, I get really hungry and I get those hunger pangs. I'm like, okay, I've really earned this, it's time to eat now. So I'll go get something to eat. And like I say, I have several ways of, being able to get, nutrition from, different sources, or I can stay on this diet and, not have to cheat. So, but let's say you're going to a family dinner or something like that, being able to, instead of trying to, oh, well, everybody else is eating this, let me just eat this too. One thing I've been able to do is, learn to fast, and Alfred recommends this later as well. But being able to fast instead of partaking in that works really well as well. Maybe you just have a drink. Maybe you have like the one thing on the table that you can actually eat, and just say, oh, I'm not too hungry. Find a way around that. But keeping yourself from cheating, I think, is one of the harder things about it. But once you get really adapted to it, you get adapted to eating in this way, and you get real deep into it, actually gets easier and easier to do that, to go without food and fast, because your body already has everything that it needs, and it's just going to set you up for success. The next one we have is from Jeffrey Wilmoth. He says, I'm in the same boat. I'm a truck driver working 12 to 14 hour days, so I can't find time to get in the gym, but I've been doing good on the carnivore diet. I'll occasionally have a teaspoon of Manuka honey or local raw unprocessed honey. It helps when I want sweets and keeps me from falling off the bandwagon and eating junk. And yeah, that's great, man. So like I say, finding these little tricks and things like that to give you just a little something sweet that will keep you from, going and wanting to eat a big piece of bread, or, something that you really shouldn't be eating on this diet. That's a great thing to find, man. And so like I say, having the honey, I think honey is probably one of the most pure forms of sugar that you can get that will help you in this, And, there's kind of a gray area there as far as, is that on the carnivore diet? Some people believe it is, some people believe it isn't. Some people believe in the carnivore diet as just purely meat. Some people believe it as animal products. So like say animal products include like milk. Raw milk is a great thing. We talk about that in a minute here. Honey, it's kind of weird because honey is an animal product, right? I mean, if you consider insects an animal, it's basically, it is, even though a lot of honey is also processed from the insects, from flowers or different trees and things like that. So there's some gray area in there. So one thing that's interesting about honey is a lot of people think, oh, well, if you have, eat this honey or whatever, that it'll help with your allergies. And as a beekeeper, my dad has actually debunked this. And it's kind of a common thing in the bee community. There's some people out there that still kind of promote it, but there is no actual science to prove that if you have local raw unfiltered honey, that it's going to keep you from having different allergies. There's kind of the idea is the basis of hormesis. Hormesis is this idea that a little bit of something is actually good for you, and I agree with that a lot, but at the same time, there's just not really any science to believe that helps you with your allergies. But again, I have an interesting relationship with honey. I believe that if you're going to have a cheat day, or you're going to have something that's going to keep you from wanting to eat candy or carbohydrates, that I think honey is a pretty good option to go for. Like I said in my last video, I had been using Divinity, which is a candy that's really simple. It's made out of egg whites and sugar, right? And I use that really because it's something easy to digest, and I was using that as a glucose supplement to help me in the gym to make sure that my muscles had enough energy to keep going. And I think that doing this for honey, and I should have thought about this sooner, as my dad owns an apiary, but honey would be a really good option. And he mentions this Manuka honey. I've never heard of that before, but I think that'd be a great option to make sure that you've got a little bit of sugar on board, so you don't go crazy and start eating a whole bunch of sweets and cakes and bad brownies and stuff like that. So yeah, really good input, man. And I told him, I was like, the hardest part is not falling for convenience, and that is 100% true, man. Stay strong. So yeah, find a way to get yourself out of that convenience where you're like, oh, I just had this thing here, let me just eat that. So keep yourself strong, and if you find a way to get something healthier on board, I think that's going to be the best option. And I think, like I say, if you got to have some kind of sugar in your diet there, or if you're weaning off of one diet going into something more like carnivore, I think honey is a great option for that. All right, next one here, another great story. 74 Dark Man says, I'm 62 and I wish I could have discovered this information about 30 years ago. It would have saved me a lot of pain and agony. I've been doing mostly carnivore for about 2 months, and the improvement in inflammation and arthritis pains is unbelievable. I noticed a difference within days. I've gotten off the diet a few times on special occasions like yesterday's Easter dinner, and I immediately noticed inflammation and joint pains. I raise my own chickens, I eat their eggs, and try to find good meats. As long as I stick with that routine, I'm good. And 74 Dartman also says, I highly recommend the carnivore diet to anyone having arthritis and inflammation problems. It works. Thumbs up emoji. Absolutely, man. So I can attest to this. Again, I talked about the arthritis, the gut inflammation, and all the inflammation in my joints has kind of gone away. And actually even cured a problem I had after I had really bad joint inflammation in my right ankle after I got the original COVID shot. I had the Pfizer COVID shot, and oh my God, I couldn't walk for 3 days afterwards, and it was really messing me up. And so later that year, I ended up starting the carnivore diet, and it really helped reduce that inflammation and helped kind of fix that for me. It's been really great. As far as raising your own chickens, that is something that is on my wish list. So I want to get my own chickens. I want to get my own cow even, and be able to raise that, or maybe even goats. I want to have something on there so I can raise my own and butcher my own meat and everything, and then have my own chickens and have my own eggs. But first, I've got to get a good piece of property. And right now, property prices are just so ridiculously inflated that it's not even something I can dream of doing right now. But saving up that money, and eventually, guys, we'll have the predator farm here, and we'll be doing some hunting, doing some fishing, hopefully, and just making it work. Hopefully being able to raise and be self-sufficient and raising my own sources of food. So there we go. Oh, and I want a cow too. I want to get some raw milk from a cow. That's on my list. So I told 74 Dartman, I was like, that's awesome. I'm looking into getting my own chickens, but I have to drive a bit more land first. So I'm in a neighborhood right now. Unfortunately, can't do that, but soon enough, man, soon enough. And 74 Dartman said, yep, when you do, find they're easy to take care of, and the eggs taste great. I do, and again, I'm kind of relying on my dad for that right now, because I do eat his farm fresh eggs. Every time we go up there, he gives me like 6 dozen eggs. So yeah, I'm excited about going back up there again to the ranch and getting some more eggs from them, because they are amazing. All right, so here's one of the coolest stories on this whole bunch, and if you really pay attention to any of them, I want you to hear this woman's story, because this was like the most inspiring thing to me. Let's see, here you go. From what are you doing now? I'm 76 years old, been carnivore for 1 full year now, and your explanation of carnivores pooping is the best I've ever heard. And that is very important, because it is, if you haven't watched the original video where we talk about pooping, go check it out up here somewhere. I'll put a little link to it. Also link in the description to the original video there. Go check it out. She goes, I needed to hear that. Thank you for being willing to discuss it. Anytime. The carnivore diet has given me a new lease on life. I'm fit and lean without effort. And like you, my blood work is normal again for the first time in 35 years. Plus, as an added bonus, my blood pressure is regularly 116/65. Which, if you don't know, that's a really good blood pressure. It's very healthy. Not bad for a woman who survived a widowmaker heart attack 1.5 years ago. Thanks again. That's amazing, man. So she had a 76 years old, a year and a half ago, she had a widowmaker heart attack. The widowmaker heart attack is a very specific set of vessels that get blocked that honestly it blocks a massive amount of blood flow to the heart, which honestly should kill the heart. So being able to survive that blockage is incredible. And coming back from that, now having a blood pressure of 116/65 and being on the carnivore diet, being healthy, that's amazing, guys. And again, these stories are not to convince you that this is going to fix all your issues, because I don't think there is a one-go solution to fix everybody's problems. But I think that what's really important here to take away from this is that health is very important, and I think it's a lot easier than it looks. Doing something like this, an elimination diet like the carnivore diet, can help you get the goals, match your goals, and meet the goals that you need to get to. So keep that in mind, and I say give it a try. Always go, if you want to be safe, go talk to your doctor. I recommend it. But yeah, check it out. Please try it if you want. Next over here. Here we go. Actually, I responded to her and I said, thanks for sharing your story. It's amazing the changes we can see in such a short period of time. Without stories like yours, I'm just up here talking and telling my subscribers what happened to me. but I'm just one guy. I think a lot of people have really found great benefits to this diet, and I wish you all the best. Please share this video online so we can reach more people. That's to you too, guys. Share this video with your friends. Share the previous video with your friends so we can talk about how great it is. This video would be a good one to share to people that are like, oh, it doesn't really do anything, or I can't believe you would eat only meat. What happens? Why don't you need vegetables? This is a great video to show to people about, or somebody that is ill, somebody that's constantly suffering with sickness. This would be a great video to show them. So this is like the testimonial video for the carnivore diet to show guys how well this can do for you. And so Knitting Nut said, I bet your family loves you eating carnivore for that reason alone. It's something we don't really talk about to the family here, but yeah, it's definitely something that, like, if somebody farts in the house, I used to blame it on the dog whenever it was me. Now if somebody farts in the house, it's probably either one of my 2 teenage boys or the dog that actually farted. So it's pretty funny. It's a good way to look at it. So here's a really good one, and this is probably going to be the last one. I encourage you guys to go read all these comments, and again, share these videos with somebody where you can share this to them and they can make a change in their life. But here's the last one for the day. It's from Blade007. The longer you abstain from carbs, the better you get at synthesizing glucose from fat via ketones. This is called fat adaptation. Fat adaptation is like a more advanced form of ketosis. You probably feel tired from an hour into your workout because your muscles are using glucose at a faster rate than your ketones can produce. This is where fat adaptation is so helpful. Over time, you create more ketones, thus you create more glucose as your body needs. Eventually, the body will know what is needed, that it needs more glucose depending on how active you are, and increase ketone production. However, I think this process takes up 2 steps backwards when you have the sugary drinks for the workout. Even if it's only occasionally, this will set you back by quite a bit from you getting the fat adapted state. I suggest cutting the sugar entirely. Eventually, the muscle fatigue will signal to the body that it needs more ketones in order to accommodate the loss of glucose from the workout. Anyway, you look great, and I hope you can stick with the carnivore diet. Blade, thank you so much. Thank you everybody who commented on this video, because I've learned a lot. I'm growing in this, and this is a journey. It's a way of eating. It's a way of life, and that's my goal. You see in the intro to the video here, it says, you want to be stronger, you want to live life true, and always keep defying the odds. And that's what we're doing here. We're growing stronger. We're putting on more and more muscle. We're going to the gym. We're working out. We're living life true. We're eating good, healthy meats, often harvested by my arrow, by my bullet, by my hands. So I'm really grateful for all of you guys who commented on this video, and I want you to continue to comment on these videos, and let's bring more people into the carnivore way of eating, as we called it. And guys, let's just keep going, man. Let's keep going. I have to bring one more comment in here because it was one that was important to me, and it helped me a lot, and that was from Dust Storm. So Dust Storm says, I've been carnivore for about 7 years now. I can tell that your issue with sugar cravings is salt. You need a ton of salt. Everyone overtrained does way better when I get them PM Tion's real salt. I don't know what that Tion's real salt is, but 2 tablespoons in a glass of water to fill the tank with them, and on salt and everything heavily, fill the tank, and then from then on, salt everything heavily to add a slight salty taste. You get your salt right, and your cravings for anything goes away. You can experience real hunger and thirst, no fake hunger and thirst. You don't need fruit, honey, sugar, or electrolyte supplements at all. Seriously, your meat should be your salt delivery system. Salt is the key to a great carnivore experience, and I've experienced that firsthand. And guys, with that, I'll leave you with this. Always go follow the rules, man. Like, do this for you. Do this. Make sure you're making changes in your life that bring a positive light experience to you. And guys, thank you for watching the video. And as always, keep defying the odds.